Greetings everyone, this is Batkun speaking, and today I am presenting an anime featuring an ordinary Japanese employee Wowo. In addition to enduring long hours at his job, also relishes the struggles of online gaming. Currently, he is quite frustrated, having just effortlessly conquered a game that was advertised as extremely challenging. To him, gaming is primarily a casual diversion. It is the core of his existence. If given the chance, he dedicate a decade to a single game without pause, and should he perish from excessive energy drink consumption. He consider it a joyful end. Having completed all game, he now embarks on the inevitable quest for another intensely difficult title. During his online circus, an unusual web page unexpectedly appears, distinctly different from typical cities. Among the various difficulty settings, Absolute Hell mode particularly grabs his notice. This level of challenge is so preposterous that its description claims players won't even have a moment to settle due to its immense difficulty. This revelation instantly ignites his eagerness to play. Upon reviewing the available character classes, he observes that they all appear highly capable. Assuming he are all designed for high damage output, he deliberately seeks out the weakest option, uncovering the summoner class. This particular class is widely regarded as more challenging than confronting the Demon King single-handedly. Nevertheless, a unique prerequisite exists for selecting this class. He must initially commence his existence as a slave, hold not the kind of slave subjected to flogging, but rather those feudal serfs who perform tasks for their lord in exchange for sustenance and lodging. Tauge, he Moses, even cosily endured whippings. He ponders. Wei Anyon would agree to such an unfavorable arrangement, yet precisely because this class presents such a formidable challenge, he ultimately agrees. Following his acceptance of terms that explicitly stated his life was in jeopardy, he is instantly whisked away to an alternate realm. He didn't just enter a game. He was fundamentally reincarnated, and his new parents bestowed upon him the name Alan. Leah. That advancing in this world demands 100-fold more experience points compared to the standard difficulty setting. Furthermore, there is no deadline to complete this game, and according to the world's creator deity, if an individual successfully endures this ordeal until its conclusion, they will ultimately uncover the profound secret of that realm. As time progresses, and young Alan enjoys his meal, a vivid flashback commences, revealing his identity in his former life. His true name was Naruto Uzumaki. He was a 35-year-old man, jobless, devoid of social connections, and without a girlfriend, merely sharing the same air as a female was, for him, a significant event. Now, at just 1 year old, he feels his new existence has genuinely rescued him. Despite being an infant and unable to articulate words, he comprehends his surroundings flawlessly. This is because, for an unknown reason, everyone in this world communicates in Japanese, and from what I had previously read, in the game as condition, he is certain he is a summoner, given that his parents are servants. His family, including himself, thus cultivating land to pay tribute to the regional Lord Feldel. His mother is named Esterishal, and his father is named Roden, who is 20 years old. His mother is Agye, however, was not disclosed. Given this is a Japanese anime, she typically be depicted as 10 or 11, but that's a joke. She is likely 22. Even though his family endures a challenging existence, they succeed in showering their soul with abundant love and cheer. After a while, Alan finds exhaustion to elude his parents, and once he is finally by himself in the room, he attempts once more to access his status window, but to no avail. Ever since his arrival in this world, he has persistently struggled to view his attributes. Yet, he has never succeeded in doing so. Alan genuinely enjoys his present life, being cradled against his mother's chest, and when hoping. However, he eagerly anticipates uncovering his summoner ability. Then discreetly, he managed to fit with fictitious. A book materializes before him, suspended in mid-air, and in his astonishment, he lets out a cry of exhilaration. This commotion, unfortunately, attracts his parents' notice. Fortunately, the book vanishes just in time, and he quickly resumes feigning sleep. His father tenderly strokes his head before departing, leaving him solitary once more. Capitalizing on this moment, Alan conjures the book again. He verifies that his class is indeed summoned and that his statistical attributes are remarkably meager. Alan comprehended that accumulating experience is crucial for increasing his strength. Therefore, the sooner he begins utilizing his summons, the more rapidly he will gather experience. Currently, he is only capable of summoning minor entities, so matching else not captures his notice in this world is his personal run, which is at the absolute lowest tier. At that instant, the grimoire begins to glow, and a message manifests. This message, itself, originates from the world as overseer, what I say in this instance. Good. The sender apologizes for the delay in delivering the grimoire, explaining that the reason is straightforward. The class Alan selected is so inherently flawed that it was still undergoing a testing phase. Note that he has finally acquired his class. He is unable to switch to a different one. The message concludes with the signature of Maya, the god of creation. Alan comprehended that his chosen class had not been fully developed. However, this fact holds no significance for him. His sole desire is to witness his summon in action, so he attempts to conjure something once more. Regrettably, nothing occurs. For most individuals, this will present a significant hurdle, as there is no available guide or forum to consult regarding gameplay. Consequently, he must decipher everything independently. Yet, for Alan, this situation merely amplifies his contentment, given his fondness for challenges. Alan then arrives at the realization that, prior to conjuring an insect, he might first need to manifest it. Upon attempting this, a notification pops up, sparking his excitement. He lets out another surprise deal, prompting his mother to re-enter the room to ensure her son is alright. Fortunately, she perceives nothing amiss. Subsequently, Alan starts to feel fatigued, leading him to choose to rest. Given he is merely a out infant with low energy for activity. The following day, as his mother attended to him, and his father is occupied with war, Alan seizes the opportunity during his nap to revisit the experiment. And on this occasion, he successfully conjures a colossal mutated grasshopper the issue. However, this entity refuses to follow his command. He then scrutinizes the grimoire with greater attention, and discerns that the harangue insect lacks a designation. Upon bestowing a name upon the creature a rather impressive one, Denka, an unforeseen event transpires. Essentially, boons manifest beneath the given name, and these boons burst the grasshopper as swiftness and resilience be an additional point. To his astonishment, Alan's personal statistics also see an improvement. Overjoyed by this, he inadvertently creates a commotion, leading his mother to enter the chamber. On this occasion, she spots the enormous grasshopper and, in a state of alarm, unhesitatingly crushes Danka, terribly utterly eradicating him from existence. Following this incident, several weeks elapse, and Alan persists in his experiments with conjuration spell. His current companion is Arab, employed as escort, notwithstanding its limited intellect. At present, Alan possesses the capability to sustain up to 10 summoned entities concurrently, and contingent upon the boosts granted by these creatures. He maintains in an active state. His personal attributes are enhanced. For instance, if he sustains 10 small ratu, his strength is augmented by an additional 10 points, rendering him considerably more potent than any other child of his generation. Through the persistent deployment of summoned beings, a multitude of abilities become accessible, enabling his progression in level. However, a severe drawback exists. Everything within this high difficulty world is amplified in difficulty by a factor of 100. For a fleeting instant, Alan experiences remorse. Upon understanding that his advancement under the circumstances would be an unending endeavor, just then, his father makes an appearance. Teresa is taken aback upon seeing him drenched in glory, where reassures them not to be concerned, clarifying that the brook is not his own. His thought he had just successfully hunted a wild boar, and following an extended struggle, he became thoroughly covered in blood. He then inquires if young Alan would like to view it. An unhager Alan responds affirmatively, keen to witness the inaugural monster of this realm, en route to the set where the boar was dispatched. His father indicates certain trees, which he also refers to as Alan, explaining that they migrate northward during this particular season, and, in his words, chase arboreal entities herald the advent of autumn. He elucidates that the appellation Alan drew its inspiration from these creatures, owing to their capacity to soar freely wherever they desire, utilizing their inherent wings, embodying freedom until the world is end. Notwithstanding this, he remarks that Alan S. Mother had expressed displeasure due to his selection of a name derived from a monstrous entity. Shortly thereafter, upon reaching the location of the deceased boar, Alan is astonished by the sheer scale of the beast. It is conceivable that, within this world, the creatures are also magnified in size by a factor of 100, a consequence of the high difficulty setting. Just then, Gerda proclaims to all present that the day as champion has made his appearance. Rodan requests that he refrain from overstating and then presents his son. Gerda is astounded to learn that Alan is capable of spectacle, despite being merely a year old. Alan then inquires if the boar truly possessed significant strength. Gerda responded that 20 individuals were required to subdue it, and furthermore, this boar is classified as a C-rank monster. Subsequently, 10 protracted months swiftly elapsed, and ultimately, Alan succeeds in attaining level 2 as a summoner. Upon reviewing his current status, he asks Cortana that he can now generate GR and summon entities, in addition to possessing the ability to synthesize them, as if that were insufficient. He moreover acquires expanded storage capacity. Furthermore, he obtains a dedicated slot for a journal where he can document anything he desires. Eagerly, he resolves to experiment with his thesis. Alan attempts it at once, but he lacks sufficient mana to merge. Even a pair of insects. He consumes food, takes a risk, and attempts once more, yet still possesses no mana. Nevertheless, he harbors no thoughts of capitulation. If synthesis proves impossible, he will endeavor to conjure a G-rank monster, but this also results in failure. Attributable to insufficient mana, lacking alternatives, he eventually falls asleep. Time progresses once more, and now, at the age of 3, Alan remains at level 2 in his summoner profession, and to date, he has only succeeded in employing synthesis a mere 20 times. In that instant, he utilizes synthesis to merge two creatures, thereby generating a novel G-rank avian entity. This being possesses the faculty to mimic vocalizations, a trait exceptionally advantageous for disorienting adversaries during skirmishes. Subsequently, Alan presents his frog, endowed with the capacity to antagonize foes, making it ideal for use as a decoy. Immediately following this, he displays his maul, which is adept at excavating subterranean passages, proving exceptionally valuable for setting traps and perfectly suited for surreptitiously navigating challenging terrains. Alan's enthusiasm grows, owing to the immense utility of GR and summoned entity. He comprehends that an individual who masters the characteristics of their own summoned beings, in conjunction with their personal owners, ultimately achieves complete mastery of the game, Nevertheless, at this precise juncture, he inadvertently tumbles into a burrow excavated by his mole, and he recognizes that a considerable journey still is ahead before he can confront genuine monstrous threat. Given that his summoned creatures can starkly adhere to his command. As he observes this, he realizes it is already 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he recalls that his primary adversary could make an appearance at any given moment. True to expectation, she materializes, beckoning Alan to engage in play. This young girl is the offspring of his neighbors, and coincidentally, the very same individual who consistently triumphed over him during their evening games. For reasons unknown, Krina possesses significantly greater strength than he does, and even despite his continuous utilization of the enhancements provided by his summoned entities, he lacks the requisite power to contend with her. During the skirmish, his blade shatters, and he ultimately suffers a crushing defeat. Soon after, it is discovered that Trisha is pregnant once more. She requests Krina to head home quickly. As evening is drawing near, Krina complies, saying her goodbyes to Alan, and leaving him on the ground, as was typical. Later, during their evening meal, Alan expresses to his father his wish to help with work, given his mother is visibly larger stomach. His parents are taken aback by this, realizing that Alan, for some unknown reason, already possesses strength comparable to an adult. Despite this, they advise him to continue playing with Krina, reminding him that he is still just a child. They explain that in the future, he will have to toil tirelessly in the field days, so it is best he cherishes his childhood now. Alan ponders this for a moment and ultimately agrees with his parents, understanding that it's nearly impossible to escape the status of a servant. If he were a father, he wouldn't wish that fate upon his own son. He realizes he has spoken to my word and for in the dictionary his parents' goodness. He simply continues playing. His parents inquire why he keeps throwing stones at a tree, and Alan explains that, having overheard his father discuss monster, he resolved to grow stronger, to protect his mother. His father feels a surge of pride at this response. In truth, Alan was merely doing this to try and unlock new abilities. At this point, Rodin mentions his anticipation for the evaluation ritual, clarifying that when Alan turns 5, the deity of their world will assess his talents. Should they possess a unique giver, he may avoid laboring in the field, which is excellent news for Alan. Following this, time passes, and with the arrival of winter, Alan resolves to begin serious training with his summoned creature. However, Krina appears, disrupting his plans and compelling him to practice with a sword again, only for him to end up defeated once more. His father then shows up and traces his soul, remarking that he doesn't seem to have inherited his father's strength. Suddenly, Trisha spots the at-first grasshopper again. She gets startled and collapses, seemingly dead. Just kidding, she is alive. Alan quickly cancels his summons, and at that moment, everyone realizes that Trisha's baby is about to be born. Alan rushes to head water and alerts his father, who panics, unsure of what to do next. Alan regrets not having played any childbirth simulation games. Fortunately, Matilda, Krina's mother, arrives swiftly. She takes charge of the situation, ushering Aldemer out of the house, leaving only the woman present. She manages the birth. At dawn, the boys awaken to the sound of the baby crying. When they enter the room, Trisha informs Roden it's a boy and asks what name he wishes to give him. Roden replies that his son will be named Messi. Trisha likes the name but, somewhat suspiciously, asks if it's also a name inspired by a monster. Roden becomes frustrated, struggling for an answer, but to his surprise, Trisha simply argues, Manuel. Alan ponders why on earth he ended up in this world. The truth is, he had wished for a terrible, almost unbeatable game. His previous life was miserable, no money, no status, no girlfriend, and not even the desire to leave his house. All he had was the ambition to grow stronger in a game, or at least, that was his intention. And now, in a way, he is content with his new existence. His mother asks Alan to come closer. When he touches his infant brother, the baby begins to cry. Alan apologizes, but Trisha reassures him not to worry. Alan says that he doesn't know what the future holds, but he resolves to do everything to liberate his parents from their survival status. Thus concludes the first episode of this anime, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I will provide a recap of the next one, so please like, comment on your thoughts about this anime, and trust the YouTube algorithm to deliver part 2 to you. Anyway, a big kiss to everyone. Goodbye. And until the next video, I am out.